Hey guys, Dennis here, Muddy Water Search and Recovery.
Chrissy, Megan.
And tonight we have special guest Lisa with us. Lisa is Aaron Shane Key's mother. And welcome with us tonight, Lisa.
Glad to be here.
And we're going to turn it over to you and let you tell us about Aaron's case and what's going on with that.
Okay, well,
If you want to start from the beginning, Lisa, that's your choice, hon.
okay, that'd probably be the best. But right now, we're pretty much, they're trying to not acknowledge me, and I'm not good at being not acknowledged, especially if I'm right. But Aaron, we had a good relationship. He spoke to me about everything, and I do mean everything. I always did. But about 3-4 months before he died, he started telling me about things that I thought were completely impossible for such a small area. I mean, being asked to kidnap young girls out of Nashville and 9-10-year-old girls. He spoke of an island where they go to in a boat, and they had kids out there that they were preparing to go into sex trafficking. And I thought it was just ludicrous, but as time goes on, he told me about the drugs that they were making, and they was using the wasp spray, and wasp spray, it affects the nervous system. It does people basically the same way, and it was real dangerous. He wouldn't let them sell it to people he knew. They just done a lot of things that were completely, to him, immoral. Now, Aaron wasn't a choir boy. He drank. On occasion, he did do some drugs, but drugs never were where he could find his escape at. So but when they asked him, he had a nine-year-old little girl and a 10-year-old son. And Aaron, if you look at any of the pictures you'll ever see him with a child, you can see the love in his eyes for that child. And that's when I believe things started going downhill for him, when he refused. He actually, he said, "Mama, what do I do?" I told him, I said, "Call the law." He said, "Mama, one of them is the law." He gave me his name. And, I told him, I said, "Well, why don't you just get your things and leave?" He said, "Mama, they won't let me." I said, "Who won't let you?" He said, "The law." So a week before he died, it was 8 days actually, he called me. We had our normal little mom and dad thing, and he said, "Mama, I believe I've got into something I can't get out of." And he said, "If something happens to me," he said, "call Derek Sidwell at the Overton County Sheriff's Department. He'll tell you what's going on." I said, "Okay." And I tried to get him to stay. He was in Nashville that day. I tried to get him to stay where I could see him. And he said he had to get back to Karen. He lived out at the house where this was. The girlfriend was a thief, and nobody let her in their home. So he rented a room from them.
Right.
And on Friday morning, on the field, he had, like I said, he had told me to call up there if something was to happen. That was on Thursday. On Friday night, he went out to a childhood friend I used to babysit, and told him to tell me if something happened, to not let it go that he didn't do it. So Aaron knew something was brewing. But on Friday, the following Friday, April the 5th, I'd been to Nashville to the doctor, And when I got home, I unpacked the car. And I got into got my shower, and this call come in. And it was a 931 area code, so I figured it was him, but I missed it. But they turned around and called right back. And then there's a voice on the end. His name was Bo. He said, "Mama." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Bubba's gone." I said, "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" He said, "Bubba's gone." I said, "Bo?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Tell me what you're saying." He said, "Rabbit hung himself." I said, "Is he okay?" He said, "No, Mama, he's gone." So I fell out of the bathtub. And I mean, when I fell out, I called and got hold of his dad. His dad was at the scene. He spent about 4 hours there. And I asked him, I said, "Is Rabbit gone?" He said, "Yeah." Well, I called over to county before I talked to him, and nobody was talking to me. So when I got a hold of his dad, I was, what can I say? I was in shock. I couldn't believe it, but I called the funeral homes on Saturday. They sent him for autopsy.
Lisa, honey, if you need to take a break or something, you just let us know, okay?
Oh, okay, I'm all right
Okay.
for now, anyway. I just I knew he wouldn't be back for a little bit, so I just stayed where I was at. I guess let it sink in. And Saturday, I called and made arrangements for them whenever they released him for Anderson Funeral Home to go after him. And I told them to call me, and I would head that way. So on Monday, they called me and told me they were going to get him. So I took the 300-mile trip by myself, had a lot of time to think,
Right.
I got it up there about 10 o'clock on Monday night, and I talked to his dad. He told me what they said had happened. He said he had dropped Aaron off. That morning, Aaron had had enough. The girlfriend was messing with Russell Cox. He called him. There was just a lot of drama, and, he was tired. He was done. And Hack took him over to his uncle where his dad was at, and they spent the day together. And around 4:55, his dad said that Aaron asked him to take him back to Hack's. Hack had told him he'd give him his rent money back for the month. So his dad took him down there, dropped him off. He hugged, kissed his dad, and told him he loved him. And he said, "Come back and get me in 30 minutes so you can take me to Livingston." So his dad left, and he went back to his brother's. It's about 25 minutes, his daddy said. And, they could be a little variation in that time. Most people pay attention. But he had back in his truck to go get him, and they called Aaron's cousin. He's also named Aaron, and told him that Aaron was dead. So his daddy's cousin drove him back down there, and Blue was told that when they got there, he was laying on the ground in a curled up fetal position. And I saw the crime scene photos. I saw these myself, my daughter and another lady. Nobody ever seen Aaron hanging. And, there's things that just that they were telling me, it didn't make any sense to me. But I got a call or two that he didn't do it. Certain people try to talk to. And I just chalked it up to small town rumors. And when I got to the funeral home, picked his things out, his dad and his cousin walked outside to smoke. And we were standing in the hall, and I asked him if Aaron was in that room. He said, yeah. I said, can I see him? Yeah. But when I saw him, he wasn't prepped. I guess they just bathed him and everything. And there's no way on earth I could have been prepared for what I saw. His right eye had a cut that run from between his eyebrows through his eyelid, past the corner of his right eye. The meat just rolled down on his cheek.
Oh, goodness.
His nose was broke. The bruising, contusions, you could see the right side of his face looked like it'd been, just beaten. And his left eyeball was ruptured. His right earlobe was ripped completely out. He always wore a carat diamond earring, stud earring, and it was ripped completely out.
Oh, my goodness.
And I couldn't even recognize his face. They had the sheet pulled down, I guess, about 4 inches below his shoulders. And I never thought to look at his body. But I couldn't. I looked at his neck, and I looked, and I thought, well, maybe it's just me. And I asked the mortician, I said, did you see any marks on his neck? He said, no. He said, but do you know if he was in a fight? He said, it looks like he put up one hell of a fight. I said, I have no idea right now.
Right.
And so I looked down the sheet, and his left hand was laying on top of the sheet. And there was a tattoo on his left ring finger, and that's how I knew it was him. So when I walked out of there, my husband and Bud, the cousin, had told me that one of the guys that was there the night Aaron died had walked into the funeral home and then jumped back in his car and left. I found that was strange. Well, the time I left the funeral home, time I walked out, I knew he had been killed. So I was in a rage. I went straight to where it happened. Walked in the house. Dark, dirty, dingy, except for the room Aaron slept in. I've been in a couple of minutes. My eyes started burning real bad. My nose, I had to walk outside. The bleach, the smell was out of this world. And I walked out to the shed where it supposedly happened. It was too high. It didn't make no sense.
Now, how tall is Aaron?
He's 6'6" and 245.
And there would have been no way that would have been possible for him to have done?
Well, considering they left a lot of evidence at the scene that I should not be in possession of, but I am. The rope was up on a beam, probably out between 4 and 5 feet. The pole that he had to climb, there's a rail that was roughly about 33, 34 inches off the floor, is like a support to brace.
Right.
Supposedly stepped up on that and then went up. It appeared to be about 16 feet. And there wasn't any steps on it, so he had to hold on with his legs and his left hand. Aaron was totally right-handed. And reached out, thread this knot or the rope through next to the tin, and tie a slip knot with one hand. But we later found out that Aaron's right wrist was broke. And I don't think you can tie a slip knot with one hand. I do not see that could be possible. And the rope is approximately 47 inches long. And, you know, Russell walked up on me out there. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm looking." He said, "Why?" I said, "I just said 2 and 2 don't equal 4.
Right.
He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Aaron didn't hang himself." So Wednesday night we had visitation. These people all claimed they loved him, how they didn't know why he'd do such a thing. Not one of these people showed up at the funeral home. Not one of them. So on, you know, it was that bothered me. You know, what's up with me? You know, these are his friends. They love him.
Right.
Why or nobody here?
Right.
So Thursday morning, we were at the funeral home, and the funeral director come out and talked to me. He said, "Well, Aaron's girlfriend is on the phone and said she wants him cremated." I said, "Ooh,
What?
yes." So I called the detective and I told him, I said, "You put a leash on her, or I'll be up there sitting with you guys." So he said he'd suspended her phone privileges, but I come to find out she called 2 or 3 times.
Right.
And the thing about it was, we didn't tell nobody which funeral home Aaron was coming to. Only people that would have known was law enforcement and the funeral home and us. And for her to know to call there, they had to tell her.
Right.
They arrested her at the scene as soon as they got there. And just so happens, we were told the original charge was murder. So I couldn't find nothing to prove it. So I don't know, 2 months ago, a lady got in contact with me and asked me about it. And she said, "It may not be your son." She said, "But we talked about it a little bit." And I said, "Well, Rabbit was this tall." And she said, "It's your son." Because Karen had mentioned his name. She told her that she was arrested for murder. But the next morning, that charge was gone. So, I mean, we went along with them for about 6 months, text messaging the detective, waiting on the autopsy report.
Yeah.
And by that time, I had all kinds of phone calls and stuff that Aaron didn't do it. And I knew he didn't do it. So the detective called and let me know that he had gotten the autopsy report. And I told him, I said, "Well, I hope yours tells more than ours did." And there was things I noticed were missing off of it. There wasn't no body temperature taken. There was no contents of his stomach. His height, they had him at 6'2". Had him at 208. He's 6'6", 245. I mean, there was just too many discrepancies. They said he had severe emphysema. Aaron walked 8-10 miles every day, had huge legs. Don't see somebody with that severe emphysema being able to do that.
Right.
It was, the autopsy report read like it was on somebody else. That's how it read. Aaron had a previous injury on the back of his head. Piece of drill steel had hit him. And they were supposed to have done a full cranium autopsy, which would have showed that he had that injury. That wasn't mentioned. There was just too much missing. They said his alcohol content when they done the autopsy was 0.149. And they didn't get his do the autopsy till 45 hours after he had died.
Oh my goodness, you are kidding me.
No. And the alcohol was raised just a little bit after death. But there's things that I couldn't add up and make anything add just right. Well, I got a hold of the 911 report. There was a lot of things become abundantly clear. We had been told that only Aaron and Karen were there, and that they got into it. He smacked her. She flew across the couch and hit her head on the table. There was no place in that house that was possible. So we watched her. Well, I'll go on to that in a few minutes. But after me and the detective talked, I asked him what he thought. He says, well, I can't make any decision. He said, I'm waiting on a 5-page report on the rope. I said, okay, just let me know when you get it. So we hung up. I saved every text message, every communication between me and this officer.
Mm-hmm.
And he never was rude to me. First time I seen him was about 30 days after Aaron had died. I went up there. I saved a question for him. And, I told him I wanted Aaron's wallet. He said he'd get it for me. To this day, I still do not have that wallet. So he, it was like, it turned into where I knew law enforcement was lying to me. And it kept getting worse. So after, then I had Crystal and Rufus calling, threatening me. They called me 3 different times, and I informed them that was a felony after the 3rd time, so they quit calling. People actually give me statements and went and tried to talk to the law, and they were told to mind their own damn business. Then this detective went to the 2 people that tried to make the statement, told them I sent him to arrest them for murdering Aaron. I'd never said anything about anybody murdering anybody.
Right.
So anybody that was trying to say something, they were being shut down. So the ADA called me. We went over his talking to me, and he's losing his cool with me. And he finally told me I didn't have any choice in accepting whatever he decided. And I told him, I said, there's always choices. And I said, I have one last question. He said, okay. He said, I said, well, what was in the report on the rope? He said, there was no such report on no rope. He said, we don't do that in suicides. I said, so you decided it was a suicide while he was laying on the ground. And I said, well, it's funny. I said, I've got a recorded phone call between me and him where he said he is waiting on that 5-page report. He hung up on me. Never heard from him again. So, I tried to give him information. His cell phone was recovered. He said he'd try to go get the person that had it, but she wasn't ever home. And I had somebody on her watching her 24/7. But they couldn't get a hold of her. So, at that point, I knew that they were not going to try to do anything to prove Aaron. No, didn't do it. But I believe when they initially arrived on the scene, I believe it was going to be a murder because the DA doesn't normally go to a scene unless it's a murder or it's an officer-involved shooting. And he was there. He actually called TBI, asked them to come to do the investigation. They had to come from Chattanooga, and about 175 miles, good 3-hour trip, maybe a little more.
Right.
And by the time they got there, they were told that there'd been a big party, and that they come out and found him, and that dogs had done all the damage. 2-week-old puppies had done the damage to Aaron's face.
There's no way. No way.
Not the damage is done to his face. I actually believe that his right cheek was probably crushed. Like I said, Aaron didn't look like Aaron. You've seen the pictures of him.
Right.
He did nothing like my son. But you know, I've been at this for it's right be 36 months, the 5th of April. And up until a little while back, they wouldn't give me anything, but I did manage to get my hands on the 911 report. There was 14 people at that crime scene. 14. Yeah. And it proved in the report, it clearly states the lady that was talking, her name is Hannah. Karen had walked roughly 60, 70 yards down the road to a trailer, knocked on the door, and had Hannah speak to the 911 operator. And in the recording, you could hear Hannah say, "There's 5 of them up there fighting." So I don't know if Aaron was alive at that point, but the point was, we had been told all along only Aaron and Karen were there.
Jeez.
So it proved what I had said was right. What statements I had proved I was right. The thing I was wrong on was the time he left. It was after 3 a.m. So, I'd posted photos on Facebook, and there was an ex-police officer called me and asked me if I'd ever heard of tubing. Oh, no. He said sometimes when they have patients that are not gone, that they expect them to go or want them to go, I guess. I don't know. He said they would run a tube down their throat to their stomach and pour alcohol down them. And he said there is a tube and a makeshift funnel in one of your photos. Yes. And my daughter had, it's like up until 6-8 months ago, we were transferring off of my phone onto some, thumb drives. I made about 10 of them where I scatter them around.
Right.
And that's when we noticed his wrist was broke. See, that wasn't on the autopsy report. The broken nose wasn't on the autopsy report. The cut, it was called a scratch on that report.
Wow.
And they were supposed to have done the full cranial autopsy. We couldn't find any signs at all of where they had messed with his head at all. But, there's, through the months, we found a lot more stuff. We, like I said, when we went and saw the crime, all they had, we listened to Karen's interview, and there was things in it that didn't make no sense. She said Aaron stepped up on her, grabbed her by the hand, drug her outside, and said, "Here, you're going to watch this." Stepped up on the rail and supposedly hung himself. Well, she said when he stepped off and he swung out, that she grabbed his feet, swung him back over to the rail, and got his foot hung. And then she said he swung back out and she couldn't get him back. There's no way he could have swung back out if his foot was hung. And the rope, what was on his neck and what I have, and the crime scene photos, that rope was hanging real loose down his chest. That was probably a couple inches out of the back of the knot. Crime scene photos showed him laying on his left side. His left arm was sort of under him a little bit, and his right shoulder sort of throwed back just a little, and his hand was on his hip. His belt was undone. His pants were undone. He had on brown tennis shoes when his dad dropped him off. He had on snake biter boots that lace up to the knees, but they were unlaced. And Karen said that he was pushing her away with his feet and hands. And if he'd been doing that, those boots would have come off his feet because they were laced all the way down in the photos. And he always wore an ace bandage around his left foot where he'd been injured in a wreck. That ace bandage was laying on the ground in some of the photos we have.
It's like they just threw clothes on him and called it a day.
Well, they stayed out there. We did found out, I guess 3 months ago, that he had what's called a slow PEA. I know the recovery rate with that is not real good, the quality of life. But the paramedic arrived, and it shows in the 911 report. She arrived, put the machine on him, and stated he had slow PEA, and she left.
Okay.
Now, she arrived before law enforcement did. And, she didn't try CPR or anything. And I don't think it was her right to decide not to do it. He deserved the chance,
Right.
But to find out, she was real bad for that. I know who she is. That's the reason they didn't want me to have none of these reports. They didn't want me to know the badge numbers. Detective Sidwell, he was 122. He's passed away. I'm trying to think the other man. Frank Dial, I believe, was the other man. He's passed away. I found out a lot more information than they ever dreamed I possibly could. And, all I wanted was his name cleared for his kids. But, we had the meeting with Dennis Farrier. The DA said he would make a statement, but all he done was made a written statement, and he only addressed 4 out of 8 cases that were complaining about it. And Aaron's wasn't one of them, obviously, but I didn't expect him to. I really didn't think he would. But in maybe early April of 20, I had a lady that downloaded the FOIA forms for me and walked me through filling them out. So I filled them out, sent them in, and I got a phone call from Overton County Executive Office. I took it, and there's a lady on the phone. She told me her name was Lillian Sales, and that she said, I can't give you these reports because you won't agree to close the case, and TBI has the case. I said, well, I'll never agree to close it. I said, because it wasn't suicide. So it was late in the evening when I got that call. So the next morning I called to make sure it was somebody that actually had called from Overton County. because I'd had some people mess with me. And as soon as I got done doing that, I called TBI. And I actually got to speak to David Roush. He spoke with me about an hour. He was really, really nice. And he said, I'll have some of my agents call you. Well, they did, and actually ended up speaking to both the agents that went to that crime scene. And he said, well, he told us, there'd been a big party and they found him, and that dogs had hurt his face. And see, this is like 18 months later when I was speaking to this man. And I told him, I said, well, there's not but one problem. He says, what's that? I said, they told us that only Aaron and Karen were there. And when we heard the 911 call, that proved that they had lied to us because all these people were there. But that report also proves that law enforcement actually seen these people leaving and had to run them down.
Oh my God.
I believe I sent Dennis a copy of it.
Yes.
And see, this was stuff I couldn't 100% prove until I seen that. I'm like, okay, now I know why they didn't want me to have it. And they actually have his police report under password protection. If it was a suicide, why would you have it under password protection?
Right.
Right.
So the following week, that same lady called me back, and she asked me what my problems was with the case. I said, how does somebody hang themselves and get beat beyond recognition? She couldn't give me an answer for that, but I told her what my problems was. There were rumors that the detective was actually Hack Cox's nephew. And one side of the Derek's side of the family says there's no relation. Hack's side says there is. So I don't know. And I'm not going to, until I can prove it, I'm not going to say one way or the other right now. If I'm wrong about something, I will admit it.
Right.
But I actually went to school with Derek's mother and father. And they were good people. And, I just don't want no more hurt than what's already been done. But the DA, the Sheriff's Department in Overton County, they made conscious choices to make us have to go through what we've been through. I've had death threats, just all kinds of stuff. And it didn't have to be. But that lady, when she hung up on me when I was getting ready to hang up, she says, well, I'm the attorney for Overton County. And the attorney from Overton County lied to me about TBI. TBI never had the case. And like I said, I spoke to both of the officers they sent up there, one day and one the next. I've actually still got their cell phone numbers. It don't take, they've been experts look at the autopsy report. Aaron's he didn't have anything that goes with pain. He didn't have, his hyoid bone wasn't broken. He didn't have batiki eye. He didn't have a swollen tongue. No marks on his neck. And he did not have the upside down V that's always at the back of the neck.
Mm-hmm.
So he had no symptoms that go with hanging. I've had people be reading through that report, and when they get to the back, they're shocked that it said suicide. I actually have one lady that she goes around, like people that have big insurance policies, and they're suspicious. This lady dissects them.
Oh, okay.
And she said at Aaron's height and weight, it would have he could have been maybe touching his toe to the ground. She said it would have still broken that hyoid bone because of his size and weight. So, I've had crazy. I believe I sent you guys the conversation between me and one guy, and it's crazy what all they've done. And as much evidence as I've got, I know who was at the scene, what badge numbers, all that. Step up, change the boy's death certificate, give his kids what they deserve, and let me go on. I never had any intentions of suing these. I mean, but I've always believed in the justice system. Now, this Mr. Dunaway, the 2 times I spoke to him, he spoke with me with respect. I've never physically met him. I've never received but one phone call, and that's when the autopsy report come in from them. I had to call them, and the sheriff, I actually called up there and spoke to him, and he never even bothered saying, I'm sorry for your loss. And I don't think the district attorney did either. Now, if Aaron had hung himself, I'd made peace with it that he done it until I saw him. And, there's no way that nobody can sustain that much damage.
Right. Right.
Actually, enlarging photos that were taken, you could see where he'd been hit in right side of the head with the butt of a gun. The actual grid, you can see it. He's got bite marks on his hands.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I've actually had 1 or 2 say that they appear to be ligature marks on his hands, which might explain why the one hand was under his body, But in the crime scene photos, I told the detective, I said, I got to give you one thing. He said, what's that? I said, you take real good crime scene photos because they clearly show there's no marks on his neck.
Yeah.
And there obviously would be with a hanging. I mean,
Well,
that's
if he was thrashing and pushing away with his feet and hands, his neck should have been tore all to pieces.
right.
I mean, they didn't even have to put makeup on his neck. I mean, you could look at him in the casket, and we could, like I said, we couldn't find where they had done anything to his head at all. We were told where to look. We couldn't find nothing. And they may have done it. They may not have. I don't know. But I know we couldn't find any signs of it. And like I said, I had ended up his hat. I actually picked it up. I went out there on Tuesday to where it happened. That's when I picked his hat up off the ground. And there's dried blood on it. It was a brand new hat. And in the crime scene photos, when his dad dropped him off, he had on a dark blue thermal knit shirt. Crime scene photos show him in a short sleeved white t-shirt, and there wasn't a speck of dirt on it. Didn't look like. I mean, it was, and him laying in the dirt. But what they sent back to us was everything what they sent back was soaking wet. Everything. The shirt, they didn't send back the white t-shirt though. I got the blue shirt back. I got the jeans, his socks. He had on a pair of gray jogging pants underneath the pants, socks. But the brown tennis shoes, they weren't there. They had actually took his suitcases out to the shed where it happened at, and everything in them was soaking wet. And in the crime scene photos, you could see like finger marks, smeared dried blood on his face. It's like they had tried to wash him off, but you could still see that. It was like just lines from fingers on his face.
Oh, gee.
Cuts all around it. Like I said, I believe the cheekbone on the right side, I believe it was in the photos, you can see it sort of flat looking. And on the other side, Aaron had high cheekbones. And there's just so many things through the months, we have found. And what we want is to, quickest way is to have a second autopsy.
Right.
Tennessee's autopsy, it's like a multiple choice. It's like a test you take in high school. You've got 4 answers. And when you come down it, if one of those answers don't apply to this particular person, then they go back to a word phrase or one singular word to pick the answer. So, I mean, they're paid to do a job, whether they're with that body 15 minutes or they're with it 8 hours. They should do the job. Tennessee's medical examiners go along with what the officer at the scene says. And they done, MPT and PBS done a segment on Tennessee's autopsy process. They said as high as 44% of Tennessee suicide rulings were in fact not suicides. Now, I mean, there's room always going to be error sometimes. Right. But in my book, when you're going toward 50%, that's a real, real big error.
Right.
And correct me if I'm wrong on this, but in Tennessee, for a medical examiner, they don't need no special training, just a high school diploma or equivalent, correct?
That's for the county level.
Okay.
Anybody, as long as they have a high school diploma and no felonies, they can be a county medical examiner.
Are now you kidding me?
The state ME, he has to have credentials. And the man that signed off it with Aaron, there's like, I believe there's a couple of more names on there besides Thomas Deering's. I don't think Mr. Deering is the one that done the autopsy. I think these other people may have, and I may be wrong, but he is the one that signed off on it. And there was a section in there, I was told, I've never read it completely. And this has been told to me by 3 or 4 different people, that the reason he went along with suicide was because of Aaron's dad saying he was bipolar. He was on SSI because he was bipolar. Aaron was not bipolar. He was on SSI over that foot. He owed Vanderbilt Medical Center over $3 million trying to save his left foot.
Ooh, goodness.
He was technically disabled, but Aaron, he loved this girl. And when he run out of money and couldn't keep her habit up, she'd do what she had to do to get high. She'd steal, sex, it didn't matter. She'd been in the game so long. I know her mother and father. She'd been dealt a rough hand growing up. When she got on drugs, they tried to help her, instead of smacking her hand, letting her go back, she might have had a chance. Right. But, her mother actually told Aaron if anything happened to Karen, that she would have him killed. So, there was Aaron's a big guy. Everybody wants to fight the big guy. But Aaron didn't hold grudges. He never did. Like I said, he wasn't a choir boy. And the ladies sure loved him.
Not gonna lie, he's pretty cute from the pictures I've seen.
They did. These ladies loved him, and that smile, it just, I don't know. He had a contagious smile, and he had an old soul. most people don't know what it is to be loyal to your family. And I don't care what anybody of his family did or said to him. If somebody stepped to them trying to hurt them, Aaron was the first one standing. I don't care which one of them it was or what they'd ever done. He would be the first one to stand with his family. And I had been told that they threatened us. And Aaron told him, he said, if you mess with my family, he said, I'll tell everything I know. And he told me some stuff, like I said, I couldn't believe it was happening where I had grew up. But looking back, everything he told me was true. I mean, right down to the police officer's name that asked him with Russell Cox to kidnap these kids. And it went downhill from there after. And I begged him to leave. I'd rather a warrant been on him or something for, this to happen to him. Because I'd sent him money to come to me, and he spent it on her. He thought he could save her. You can't save somebody that don't want saved. And all these people are supposed to have been his friends. Some of them talk and are willing to talk to officials, but it's going to have to be officials that's not in Tennessee. They will not talk. And now I can't blame them from what I've seen. I spoke to the governor's office. They say they have no authority over the DA. I spoke to the Tennessee State Attorney General. He says he has no authority over the Attorney General, but yet he was on public TV allowing the 20th District's DA, Glenn Funk. He had been representing clients while he's a sitting DA, which is not allowed. Now, we're talking about a man that went to school to know the law, and he pled ignorance of the law. And on TV, he said in this instance, Mr. Slattery did, he said in this instance, ignorance of the law is excusable. I go to court, it's not over a speeding ticket, and I didn't know the speed limit. They're not going to let me use ignorance of the law.
No.
Right.
They passed a law that there's no mandatory sentence now in Tennessee, and that was retroactive. They let people out now that's supposed to be life. They let them out at half the time. I mean, drug dealers in this district, there's a lady with 3 bodies under her belt. They've got her, put her on 8 years of paper. I mean, this is not making any sense. I mean, the victims, I don't know if anybody's seen the Dennis Farrier report he done about the billboard, but, one mother's son was run over by a guy that didn't have a driver's license. He was speeding. He had minors in the car drinking, and no driver's license.
Oh my goodness.
Left the scene of the accident, and the DA told Rosemarie that leaving the scene of an accident wasn't a crime in Tennessee.
Well, it is everywhere else.
Well, he might ought to try Googling it if you don't know, because Google will tell you it is. And this young man was killed. And she asked him, she said, well, charge him with some. He said, what do you want me to do? Write him a speeding ticket?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No, not at all. And then you got Courtney Cash.
Yes.
I don't know. I got on with TC Spotlight. The boyfriend come on there. He stayed on there with me talking for forever. I had him going. And he spent I said, you're spending all your time trying to convince me you didn't do it. I said, I don't matter. I said, I don't have a dog in the race. There's just too much that don't make no sense that's going on, and it's in the entire district. There's 7 counties. They even swap up judges from like out of the 15th district, which is Jackson County, into Clay County. People are pushed into plea bargains. That some of them didn't even commit crimes. I mean, it's I have my theory what's going on, but I'll not tell that part of it. I figure everybody else, it's fixing to be a lot to come out. I mean, Josh Bohannon's been found.
See, Joshua surprised me. I wasn't expecting him to be found that quick.
I was back about 6 months ago. Well, when we first started getting some, people started getting upset about this group, that Tennessee Dark Hole.
Right.
A lot of cases come in there, and they come in fast. And they started being a lot of noise, and they didn't like it. And when that sign went up, it went crazy.
Incredible.
Especially when they called it. Go ahead.
I was going to say that sign is amazing. The work that you've put in for that and everybody else, it's amazing. It is, I can't even explain it. It is just amazing.
Well, for 26 months, I went at it by myself, brick wall after brick wall. And I thought, up until that point, I thought, I felt like I was the only one. And
Right.
I thought, well, man, there has to be more out there.
Right.
And when that, I figured I might be able to find 4 or 5 cases.
Right.
There was 20 showed up in 2 weeks. 20.
Yeah.
And people, we've got cases in there that's 21 years old.
Right.
That people, and these people never talked about them. They was just, there's nothing we can do. And when I realized one case couldn't do it, but maybe a whole bunch could. And, then started getting the TC Spotlight girls. I told her, I said, well, you run everybody's case that wants to talk in this group. And she started running them. Then we come across the Gainesboro 4, which is crazy. That is one of, it got the lady in Washington County. The sheriff ordered her son's casket sealed. How does the sheriff get that much authority?
Exactly.
She doesn't know that her son's in that casket.
Exactly. I was telling Denny that earlier. How did they know that's even him in there? There's no way.
When I done a thing on Chasing Justice, and she called me and asked me, she said, get on and listen to this lady talk. And I did, and she had decided to tell her story because of Summer Wells. And the detective that had investigated her son's case is the lead detective on Summer Wells' case.
Yeah.
And she's telling it because she didn't want Summer's case messed up. And the more you listen to her, it was, I thought, oh my God. And I just thought maybe it was 13th district, old lucky 13.
Right.
But this stuff has been, case in Clay County. 14-year-old boy had 55 shots of liquor in him. 6 kids older kids had got him drunk.
Oh my God.
Threw him out in the snow naked. When they go to court, she's told that a manslaughter charge is all she was going to get because they couldn't afford to have murder trials. And come to find out, this one person out of 6 contributes into the delinquency of a minor, 5 years on paper.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then you've got repeat offenders over and over and over. Russell Cox is one of them. DUIs, driving on suspended, possession, over and over. Always first offenses.
Mm.
So there's something going on big. I don't know. You know, I haven't been in their books. They had Susan Birdwell out of Clay County. TBI got on 11 count indictment for forging a judge's signature, I guess, and selling expungement records or something.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot going on. And Josh, you know, when they tried to get Josh's to fill out the missing persons report, they were met with, we're not wasting man hours and taxpayers' money on somebody that just wanted to disappear because there was a capias on him. I mean, that family's treated awful. And then I know you guys have seen the ban list they put out.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's a public taxpayer facility. How do you do that? You can't. They wouldn't take calls from the family. Who else were they supposed to call to get answers?
Right.
And see, I never had the ability to call. You know, after I found out what was going on, I mean, there wasn't any need. You know, when I called and told them about them threatening me, they never done nothing. I got crazy, you know, the crazy conversations in Messenger, threatening to steal Aaron's body, put his kids in a hole beside him, or gang rape me. I mean, I don't know if they thought they were going to scare me, but you know, we've got a bunch of people, families that's standing together now. We're not going away.
No.
We're here. Some of us might get justice. Well, the reality is there'll be some that won't. I may be one of them. But it's time, you know, people have been afraid. Let things go long enough. You know, if we don't stand up and do what's right now, there's no future for future generations.
Right.
Absolutely.
I'll never live back in that area. You know, I'll be buried there, but I'll never live back up there. But these people that I've met, they have families that, you know, kids that's going to grow up there. And somebody's got to make a difference for them. And that's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely.
Strong women. Strong, you know, Courtney's mom is fighting cancer. Yeah. And she's a strong woman. But you put a lot of warrior women in there. And Parker, you know, when the Parkers come in with the Gainsborough Four, I only knew about their son. And they wanted to put it in the group. And I said, sure, that's close enough. They all scratch each other's back. Right. And then find out that there's 4 kids that nobody's ever got answers for. I mean, and it's just lies. Caitlin Ledbetter. There's just too much stuff, you know. There's just too much. It's ridiculous. Right. Now, election time's coming up. Now, the DA is running unopposed. It's definitely not for the job he's doing. I mean, anybody can pad their conviction rate if they're making people take plea bargains. You either take this or I'll get you some more charges.
Right.
There's people told me that. And people that have little small things are getting huge time in jail, and the drug dealers are staying on the streets. There's something wrong with that. They know they're selling bad dope. They know it for a fact. I mean, there's been police officers tell other people, we know for a fact Aaron didn't hang himself, but they've had a issued a gag order on them. And, I told them straight when the DA called me in November of 20 and asked me if I'd file that FOIA. And I said, I did. He said, I can't give you nothing unless you agree to close the case. I said, hell freeze over first.
Right.
And I said, but since I've got you on the phone, I tried to call him numerous times to see if they would listen to the statements I had or look at them. And I told him about it. He said, will you speak to one of my detectives about it? I said, sure. I said, have you got Randall Slayton? He said, yeah. I said, that's who I want to talk to. And when I went in, there was 2 detectives. My grandson was with me. I always, for whatever reason, I always make there's somebody with me. And they were going to blow me off when I walked in. But after a few minutes, he knew I had a lot of stuff. And I give them 3 statements. One from a girl that had actually talked to Crystal Gooseby on the phone while she was cleaning up the blood. Aaron was still in the house. Police officers never went inside the house out there that night, or they'd have smelled the bleach. And she told them, 2 of them actually, with their boyfriends, heard it. She's cleaned up a crime scene. She can't talk. That she's got to get it done before the law gets there. And it was Aaron, and that he deserved to die.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I mean, Aaron's case is it's what I'm up against is a man that a DA that stands up in court, in open court, and says he can do anything he wants to because he answers to nobody. One guy actually asked him if he thought he was God, and he said, well, there's nobody above me.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah, so, but then if a DA steps aside, the governor is the one that appoints the next DA. So if he ain't got no authority to put this man in line and call him out where he's messing up, how does he have the authority to appoint a new DA?
Right.
So, I mean, there's just a lot. When I went into it, it was just about my son. It's not like that anymore. The Bohannons are waiting on stuff on Josh. I keep hoping that, maybe they'll do this investigation. They failed the Bohannons. I mean, there's no way you can say they didn't. I pray they file a lawsuit that they choke on, is what I pray. Because they have been done dirty.
Get over this.
And like I said, it's just not about Aaron anymore. It's about, I want his name cleared for his kids. But these other families, I mean, this has been going on too long. The Gainsborough 4, they've been set in 20 years. They don't have any answers. There's a cover up there too. So, I don't know how far it goes back, but it's time for the people to be able to look to law enforcement, because there's good officers out there.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I believe in them. I respect them. But when you get good ones and you've got bad ones on top, it's a go along to get along situation. These people have to put food on their tables for their families. And I don't fault the officers, I guess, for the most part, that are, orders come down from the top. And, you either do what they tell you to do, or stand up and say this isn't right. You're going to lose your job, but maybe you can go on somewhere else. But you got, your dignity. And none of these people, officers that I've found, are willing to stand up and do what's right. And that's a scary, scary feeling.
Because you have more than enough evidence to prove corruption in these cases. I mean, more than enough.
Yes, and if it just been one like mine, at first I thought, well, it's just Aaron's one that just sort of slipped through. They've made a mistake. They're not making mistakes. They're making conscious choices
Right.
that they can do anything they want. And in life, for every action, there's a reaction. There's consequences for your actions. And there is so much dirt that it's just blatant that they do, thinking nobody's ever going to say anything. People are talking.
Right.
Maybe I started because I wouldn't shut up. I don't know if I can take credit for that or not, but I know I've got a lot of families that stand with me, and I stand with them.
That's right.
And they don't, judges, they're all part of it. And they hate our sign, but we got enough money coming in. It's gonna be there. And,
good.
People, there's people from across the country that, they're sending money. It may not be much, $5 here, $5 there, but people care. Right. And the most astounding thing I found is, I guess it's been 2 weeks ago, one of Aaron's friends asked me how he was. And he lives in this area. I said, honey, he's been gone nearly 3 years. That people up there, they're controlling what is let out to the people. Anything you see in a local newspaper, it's not going to be something negative. It's like they had a bust out in Allen's, Tennessee, across from the school. They made sure that was told. But when you have, there wasn't nothing in no newspaper about no suicide, nothing about an event that had happened out there the night Aaron died. And you get to looking, and these others, now Courtney Cash has got a lot of publicity. That's Johnny Cash's great niece.
Right.
But her mama also, she raised hell off hinges. She still is. There was one charged and convicted. But the man they put in jail with that one he'd been a lifelong friend of Courtney's. This man didn't leave her. And he's doing the time. That boy, Courtney's boyfriend, that's the one they needed to have got.
Right.
And the way Miss Dunaway spoke to Cindy and Ken Young, that sent a streak of fire through me, knowing, it's just wrong. You don't treat people like that. Talk to, end of story. Not ask somebody that, not even courteous, like you're, dust under their feet or something. And, most of these families have been treated that way.
Right.
And it's a shame.
Well, I think you're an amazing woman. You've been through hell and back. You're always in my thoughts and prayers. I wish everything to come out the way it needs to for you to get on with your life, honey.
I appreciate that. I know God, the days I'd wake up with, up against a wall, get up and I'd have a new plan. So, he's walking with me.
That's right.
10 years ago, this would be a whole different ball game. But I'm the one. I'm his work in progress, and I believe he's brought. I look at it as Aaron was took to bring all this stuff to light, and to bring all these people together where they can stand and make a difference. And
I agree.
In on standing and taking a difference, I follow your YouTube page or Facebook page, and you have spearheaded this and helping bring these families together. And the work that is being done there is incredible. And a lot of that, honestly, is thanks to you.
That was my thought was I've tried everything else. I didn't have nothing to lose. But I found out I had a lot to gain. These are good people, honest, working, everyday good people. And they're the ones that pay the taxes, so that sheriff in Putnam County can put a ban list up. Where there's suicides in the jails and then we have drug overdose deaths in the jails.
Right.
How do you get? I know how they're getting in there. I told them how they was getting in there.
Yeah.
People talk to me a lot. I know a lot of people up there. I have people reach out to me that knew Aaron, and that, like I said, they didn't know he's gone. And that is, the people are becoming aware of what is going on around them. COVID kept everybody in the house where we couldn't communicate much.
Right.
But people are becoming aware of what is really going on.
You broke hell wide open.
Well, I don't hate. I haven't moved to a point where I hate anybody. But and I pray I don't. But we all sin. We got to meet the maker at the end of the day. These people in law enforcement up there, they're going to be sitting with a lot of people looking at their table when their judgment's passed.
That's right.
But you can think you're above man's law. You can't get above God's law.
No, ma'am.
But just send out prayers for the Bohannon family. They at least are going to be able to lay the little feller to rest. I said, I have but one thing that scares me beyond anything in that case, with all that's been going on. And we know the medical examiner messed up Aaron's case. How does this family know for 100% fact they're not lying who that little fella is? It is somebody, because there was a hiker missing there years ago. But I mean, they have put it to a point that you can't trust nobody up there. And I just want closure for him, but I hope it's the right one. I do. Right. I pray, because I've talked to his aunt, and she a strong lady. Vicki Jones is a strong lady. Cindy Young, Monica Kaysen, Rosemarie, the Parkers. Right. Everybody's standing together, and they're taking care of each other. And I've got new family.
That's right.
And I hate that we're in that club we're in, but they brought it's a force to be reckoned with, and we're not going away.
Right. That is for sure.
That is very true.
But if you've got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Does anybody out there that's watching right now have any questions for Miss Lisa?
And Lisa, I don't know if you can see the comments.
No, I don't think so.
but you're
being praised left and right. And I mean, it's amazing.
And someone asked if this has ever been reported to the FBI corruption hotline.
I didn't know there's such a hotline. I filed, actually, I've encouraged everybody in our group to file complaints with the Department of Justice. But if they got that phone number, I would love to have it, because I will flat drop a dime. I will leave. Well, when I walked out of the DA's office, I told the detective, I said, "You know that thorn in your side?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm her." I said, "I ain't going away. Nobody throwing my child away like a piece of garbage on the street. Nobody." Right. He wasn't perfect, but there's a lot of people standing behind them badges. They got a lot of dirt on them. Same cops, working the same cases, same people killed, but they all suicides. Yeah, I found out a lot.
Right.
And I ain't out to hurt nobody, destroy nobody's career. Do right by these people.
Right.
Right.
You got to get back to accountability. Everybody has to have somebody, or should have somebody to answer to. There needs to be a board developed that over the DAs. I know people in our actual group have filed complaints against the DA. The complaints were sent from the ethics board or whatever it is back to him so he could harass these people. So that's, that takes in your attorneys.
Right.
There's just a lot going on, but somebody told me I was a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm Aaron Keys.
I think you are.
I think you are 100%.
I'm Aaron Key's mom, and that's it.
You're Aaron Key's mom, and yes, you're looking for answers in Aaron's case, but personally, I see the work that you're putting in for these other families, right, so they get answers as well. It takes a very special person to do that.
You're amazing, Lisa.
Oh, I appreciate that. But every parent thinks their child is special, and we're supposed to. But every one of all these people have had a loss with no answers. We're all the same. One of them's no better than the next one. Mine's no better than the next one. So, I believe we've got a chance. God's with us, because God knows I'd have never thought about a lot of things that I have. But the big thing, I've lost faith in the judicial system. I've lost faith in police officers that I always believed in. Because you can't tell who's wearing the good side and who's wearing the bad. You can't see it anymore. And that's a sad state of affairs when we can look at a police officer that's sworn to protect and serve, and you don't know if he's on the good side or he's playing both sides or what.
Right.
So, it's our fault it's got to that point. By turning our heads, and it don't affect me, keep your mouth shut. But it can affect anybody, because I never thought it could affect me. So, but it can. But there's always strength in numbers.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but I appreciate everybody. There's a petition to ask the FBI to investigate the 13th district. We need as many signatures on that as we possibly can get. Aaron has one for exhumation. I believe it. It's God's timing. I've learned that because, I know why I'm not a doctor, because I don't have patience. But I've learned it's his timing. There's None of us can understand why our children took, but there's a real big picture, and maybe this group, that board, will inspire people across the country, because Tennessee is considered the most corrupt state in America, and it's one of the most beautiful.
And see, I've told Denny and Megan that before, that I mean, Tennessee just looks like this amazing place to go to, and all the history and the agriculture and so on and so forth. And then you hear stuff like this. And
yeah, I mean, the lakes, Dale Hollow Lake, oh my God, you can see down in the water forever. It's not a lake where you'll see like sort of muddy looking.
right,
Dale Hollow's not like that.
right,
When I went to school in Salina, I walked to kindergarten as a 5-year-old by myself. And when I drive through Salina, I don't see people in broad daylight walking. Everybody knew everybody. There was a sense of community. Somebody's house burnt. We chipped together, had benefits, and got these people going again. And now you don't know who's the enemy. You don't know if your next door neighbor ain't the one that's making the drugs. People don't interact enough to know. And that's where we run into our problems. Oh, wait, whoa, something ain't right here. And then people get to talking about it, and then they ask for somebody to do something about it. And that's not what happens anymore. But it's going to have to come back in order for future generations to be safe. I mean, there's always been crooked cops. I mean, even back in the 1800s, you always had one or two bad apples.
right,
But when the whole damn tree's bad, you got to cut the tree down.
right.
So, prayers, petitions, there's GoFundMe's. Aaron's is for exhumation, because I know Aaron comes out the ground, an independent autopsy, there's no doubt, will prove that, he was killed. I mean, people pointed out to me, I was hurt so bad. I knew he was damaged severely. But, I didn't think to see if the lower extremities had any damage. I didn't even think to ask. I was in, for a while, I was just in a blind rage. And then, I guess there's sort of a calm, an unexpected calm that I've never had. And I don't exactly understand it just yet, but I can think and I can see. And I had psychology classes. I went to college in 2010, and I learned a lot from those. But God's taught all of us, it's in His time, 20 years. We've got one girl, her case is 30 years old. And she never spoke about it. But people are stepping up from all over the state. And it's not, it seems to be worse from East Tennessee back to Nashville. There's a couple of cases that we've got on the other side, in West Tennessee, but nothing like what the 13th district's doing. I believe we've got some folks that trying to climb the political ladder. They get any higher, we're in serious trouble. So, but I'm not about the politics. I just want justice. You got lawyers that go to school to use to get educated about the law, to fight for right and wrong.
Right.
But then they become bootlickers to a dictator. Why don't you just hire people off the street if you don't need to know the laws if you're not going to enforce them?
I even thought that myself. I thought, just hire them off the street. Hell.
Save you some money.
Right?
Isn't there a news station out there now that is going to be carrying stories on these cases?
Dennis Farrier, Channel 17, is going to run them. He's actually he's done started taping some. Actually adding some more to it. He covered the Lauren Agee case, and I mean, he was one that Dunaway threw out of the office. Dennis Farrier, Sherry Smith, and her husband. And actually, her daughter was the one that Judge Young sent the photo to of himself in his robe. So, yeah, I mean, rubbing it in their faces. I mean, they've lost their daughter. You're dead. I mean, I watched a lot of the YouTube stuff on Lauren Agee. And, you know, the detective, a rookie, never investigated a murder. He admitted he didn't know protocols. I want to know if that bunch up there knows protocols.
Oh my God.
You know, Aaron's hands weren't even bagged, you know, to scrape under his fingernail. Yeah, I mean, he was left uncovered on the ground the entire time. And if puppies got to him, that's because they didn't secure the scene.
Right.
They didn't separate the witnesses. The interviews were police led, yes and no questions. Well, he did this, he did that. I heard him. His dad's statement, they hand wrote it out, and his dad actually asked him, "Why aren't you recording aren't you supposed to be recording this?" And he told him that they didn't have that kind of equipment, but they turned right around and recorded Russells and Crystals.
Oh my! Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, it gets crazier and I could sit here and talk about this stuff all night. In the Courtney Cash case, the boyfriend had said that he had shot Courtney up twice, but he wasn't a drug user. How would he know how to shoot her up?
Yeah.
And instead of taking that, the sheriff said that his people weren't trained to handle biohazard material. So they threw the stuff away.
Wow.
Oh my God.
If you don't know how to do your job, call somebody that does.
Right.
That's too easy, though. My goodness.
Yeah, you can set all these cases and pick flaw after flaw after flaw. And I mean, and this is I'm not trained. I'm not trained at all. And when me and Lynette, my daughter, and our friend went in and looked at all they had on there, we come out with 2 complete notebook pages full of questions. And we're not trained. So, I mean, that says a lot that, you know, something's wrong.
Right.
Something's really wrong.
Yeah.
But my best advice to anybody out there, if you've got to deal with law enforcement, you better take somebody with you. Because they're going to try to say, you didn't hear this, she didn't see that. Because when Randall Slayton, I told him we had seen everything, the color drained out of his face.
Busted.
You know, they promised me over and over, I'll get you your wallet. The DA's office did. The detective did. 36 months later, they're holding his stuff hostage, thinking that wallet is going to make me give up and say, yeah, close it. They may have closed it behind my back, but according, you know, as of 2021, they hadn't closed it. But these people are sneaky, so I believe they're capable of anything.
Right.
But, for anybody in Tennessee, when your autopsy comes back, there's supposed to be a letter accompanying that autopsy report that clearly states if you have a problem with the determination, you have a year to file for reconsideration. Nobody I know of in Tennessee I've talked to ever gets that letter.
Oh, jeez.
See, they're going on. People, are not that informed. People's got to get informed. I've learned a lot, believe me, and it's a shame I had to learn it the hard way.
Right.
And they better start watching their state reps and stuff, because they're passing laws that's giving all the rights to the criminals. And the victims, well, they're just victims. So.
Well, we are going to be sharing the links to the GoFundMe's and the petitions. And we ask all of our viewers on Aaron's case, these other cases, please share those, keep those in the public eye, help keep the pressure mounting on these cases.
Please do, and like I said, keep the Bohannon family in their prayers, and for them to do the right thing this time, make a change for different, start changing and doing right. They failed this young man in the family in the initial stages. Step up and do something right.
Yes, ma'am.
It's about, it's time. It's caving in. All of it's fixing to fall in. Start doing something right. Try. I mean, at least show that you're sorry for your actions.
Yes.
I believe we're dealing with a lot of darkness. So, but yeah, I appreciate any and everybody that listen. They can apply to get in if they want to see in the dark hole, but you do have to agree to have your friends list open and not be kin to any law enforcement in Tennessee.
See, and that's simply just protection on you guys and for the integrity of the cases.
Right.
Yes, we don't, people that's come in and decided to talk, we want them to feel safe we've got to protect them.
Right.
They come first, and the feds look in these groups. They monitor them for terrorism and stuff.
Yes.
That was the initial thought, was knowing that they monitored.
Yes.
And somebody get in there and say, "Whoa, what is going on?"
Right.
And we've got people, like I said, from all over the world as part of the group. Hasn't hit 1,000 yet, but it's because the rules are hard to get in.
Right.
I hate it if they don't like it, but those people deserve to be protected. They deserve to have somebody they know they can trust.
Right.
And we're going to get every story out there that we can. TC Spotlight, you guys want to talk to some of these people? I'll send them your way too. The more people carry these stories, the farther it's going to go.
Right.
The more pressure is going to be applied to them.
And speaking of TC Spotlight, any of the viewers, if you have not checked out their channel, please go over and check out their channel. They cover this as well, and they do a good job covering these cases.
Right.
Yeah, she's not in state. She's impartial, but she'll ask questions that maybe I wouldn't ask, because that initially I would have been afraid of offending somebody. Yeah, I'm not afraid of offending them. I call it
right.
That's exactly right. There ain't no need of trying to be nice and sugarcoat nothing anymore. My son's laying up there with suicide on a death certificate that there's no way on God's green earth it could have happened. The district attorney was on the scene. He knows it wasn't.
Right.
The only thing I can figure out, I was told that murder cases cost in excess of $1 million. One. Well, they pulled up and, hey, there's 9 or 10 in this one. So, it could have been that. I don't know. But they know Aaron didn't do it. The detectives have been overheard saying they didn't do it, and it come from credible sources. So, They either going to have to start staying at home and not talk about it because they can't none of them keep their mouths shut. They're too busy bragging.
Yeah.
And that'll always get you.
Right. I was to say, eventually that'll catch up to you.
Yeah, because you're going to have this and they're going to tell that one. And then it's going to, yeah. But, yeah, just everybody, Tennessee needs a lot of prayers. We really do.
Right.
I appreciate you guys carrying Aaron's. I think you was going to hunt for Josh. Caitlin's still out there somewhere. A lot, Katie Cawthorn's out there. A little girl from Bloomington Springs. And then we got Megan, Megan Boland. She was from Kentucky. Laid in a dude's trailer they said 3 to 5 days. But then they said it wasn't illegal to have a corpse in your house.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Girl died in the parking lot at the IGA at Livingston. I don't even know. Nobody knows what the autopsy come back. Caitlin's daddy's house burnt, and his girlfriend conveniently burnt in the house.
Oh my God.
I mean, Turkey Town's covered. Lisa Gail Paul. I've got crime scene photos. Ain't no way that woman shot herself. And that one contains 2 of the same characters, Aaron and Aaron and her death.
Oh my goodness.
All of the same one. Yeah. I mean, it don't take an Einstein to put it together. And
right.
There's just a lot, and there's a lot more, This is just samples of what everybody in this group's got pieces of puzzle that they didn't think anybody would ever bring together.
Right.
And, social media, that has been the greatest tool. If it wasn't for social media, the group couldn't have never happened.
Right.
This couldn't be happening right now. So God's got some wisdom going on.
Right.
But I appreciate you guys. Like I said, you want to do any of the other stories, everybody's welcome to tell them. But not going to have the one thing, poor little Summer Wales, that has turned into something like I've never seen. And the poor little girl has got lost in all of it. People trying to capitalize off of it. And,
that's what I started thinking too. Like, there's a little girl at stake here.
Well, yes, exactly. There's one lady. One of the interviewers actually sent a fake FBI agent to her.
Oh my God. Jeez.
I promise on all is holy what that woman and they exploited her son. It's not so much about us, it's about exploiting our children. And God bless her is all I can say. And I hope that she is, if she feels like telling it, because posing as an officer is a federal offense.
Yeah.
So, and this lady still got her YouTube channel, and I've done politely cussed her out after I found out it happened.
Right.
That's dirty. That's just dirty.
Yeah. This world is it's amazing to me. It's falling apart.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, if I missed any, I know I missed a lot of cases. We've got new ones coming in that I hadn't exactly hit out in the group yet, but we're gonna keep talking. We're not gonna be shut down. We're gonna keep talking. Close one group. Shoot, it don't take just a few minutes to make another one. Right. Don't figure that out, So you might as well deal with it. We're here. We're not going to shut it. Right. So pray for the Bohannons. Pray for all of us.
Yes, ma'am.
Any of you guys out there want to help run these cases, the more the merrier. I mean, I know Aaron, I think, may have, what's your first or second, like Randy Leach?
Right.
Yeah.
And, you sort of treading into new ground, and you probably won't run across many that will be as straight out as I am. I mean, it is what it is. I've put out all the names since day one. Right. I stand by it, and not one has ever denied it. Not one.
Say, you had the evidence to back it up, so they really cannot deny it.
Right.
Well, one big thing is I think they didn't think I had what I've said I've had, but I gave one statement to the detective in Cookville where one of the killers was named. They never even offered to go talk to these people, but they wanted me to give them everything. I said, oh no, do something with this. I said, I'll give you the rest of it. No, I ain't putting all my eggs in one basket so they can figure out ways to cover everything up. I'm not that stupid.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, there's people that's got evidence 20 years old that they've had put away too. So being the poor little dumb hillbillies up there are half as stupid as they thought they were. Well, I'm getting off. I appreciate you guys.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on and talking with us. We love you. You're in our prayers. If you need anything, holler. Denny?
And you're welcome to join us on here anytime. If you think time's gone by and it needs a recap, holler at me. We'll bring you back on here.
Yes.
And I'd be willing to bring the other families on these cases on as well.
Absolutely.
That'd be great. We really appreciate that. Maybe Courtney's mom would be up to. She went through chemo radiation, so maybe she'd be up to talking because
absolutely
this woman, she was in another life. This was my twin.
The work you're doing is incredible.
Yes.
And anything we can do to help you with that, we are here. Just get a hold of us.
You guys do an incredible job too.
Thank you.
I've got to. I don't sometimes get to watch them all, but I do get to watch.
That's all right.
Those. I think you guys got Aaron's case from Joanne Conger, maybe.
Actually, Aaron's case. I seen a post that you had put on Facebook, reaching out to anybody that could help you get attention on this case.
Right. And that was I don't think they ever thought I would be able to get anybody to look at it because I was just one lone case. But his daddy told him down there on the scene that night, he said, you boys ain't seen no hell to his mama.
All right.
But anyway, I'm gone. God bless all of you. Keep us in your prayers. And the whole country needs to start going back to accountability. Every one of us.
Yes,
turning our heads have got us to where we're at now.
That's right.
Gotta take it back or let it go one. There ain't no in between no more.
That's right. That's right. Well, you have a good evening, Lisa.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.
And guys, again, please be sharing these Tennessee cases. They need as much public attention that they can get, put as much pressure on these to get answers.
Right.
We will be going to Tennessee at some point. Caitlin Ledbetter, Parker Morris, and some of these others we will be doing searches on. But definitely keep these families in your thoughts and prayers. We will be covering more of these cases at a later date, but not too far out. They are in the works.
Right.
But with this, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Lisa, for joining us tonight.
We love you, girl.
And a quick update. Don't forget, Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. Central Time will be our next live feed. And Leanne will be joining us live on that live feed on Randy Leach's case. So with that, thank you for being here. You all have a good night. Stay safe, and we'll catch you down the road.
Bye.